Hello there, I'm Kyo Cerrone Beatmaker, and welcome to the first episode of the Mindset Rants. This is going to be a new little sub series of the Monday Mindset for those weeks when I didn't have time to work on the script, and I had a busy week with school and such. You know how it is with life. But this kind of, the muses were calling me last night and they popped this idea into my head. So I thought I would give it a go. There were some things that were still on my mind from last episode that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, let's delve right into it. And here we go with the Mindset Rants. Welcome to Ronin Art and Music. I wish to introduce everyone to my new Teespring page, where you can purchase designs featuring Ronin Art and Music, the Monday Mindset, or Ronin Thoughts. Head over to Teespring and search Ronin Art and Music, or head over to my Etsy page at Ronin Art and Music, where you can purchase photography postcards, motivational postcards, and hard copies of my debut album, True Colors. If you enjoy the merchandise, products, or content created by Ronin Art and Music, please take time to subscribe to my Patreon page at Ronin Art and Music. This is the best way to show continued support and join Clan Ronin, where you will have a hands-on impact on all things Ronin Art and Music. Stay positive, stay focused, stay true, and much love. So, last episode of Love Involves Responsibility, I kind of went off on a bit of a rant, I should say. Sorry about that. On OnlyFans and dating. If you caught my episode, you'd know I kind of went off on a bit of a rant and tangent, talked about a lot of things. So I figured I'd clear up some of this stuff I talked about, um, and kind of expand on some of the ideas I was sharing in that episode. And like one thing I want to talk about is that I brought up was, and I was kind of talking about like feminist ideology and OnlyFans and the manosphere and men dating. And I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit of those things since I did a lot about that. And one thing I really wanted to talk about in terms of like my thoughts were on OnlyFans and dating was mainly because I've seen a theme of whether it's people talking about it or you know Twitter or Instagram or what have you, YouTube, you know women who do OnlyFans who are struggling, looking for um, men to be in relationships with, and it makes me think of a video I recently saw, and it's a brief clip of a girl that shows up at her now recent ex-boyfriend's apartment, it looks like. And she's like, confronting him on why he broke up with her. And he tells her it's because you made an OnlyFans account when I told you not to do it. And her response was, well, are you going to pay my bills? And he kind of was like, please, you need to get out. He kind of like she was getting up in his face, and he was, moving his hand and moving his hand in the direction of telling her to please leave and get out of his place. And she got mad, and I think she like destroyed his video game console because he was holding on. It looked like a PS5, which is like, come on. And you can go and look up that video, and you can interpret it your own way, but on the physicality and of the alteration. But that's not what I'm focusing on. I'm focusing on why did he break up on her, and her response a little bit. Um, And I think, this is an issue, and I kind of brought up last episode in Love Involves Responsibility, I think part 3. Just, just this issue of, um, you know, women and young women who sign up for OnlyFans, for the quick cash and the quick validation that comes with it. But there's never any thought about the long term ramifications. And this is an interesting example because this is a woman who was already in a relationship, and the man that she's with was like, "Listen, if you do this, we're not going to be together." And she's, an ongoing theme is when you tell someone, "Hey, if you do something like this is how I'm going to react," and then they become shocked and surprised when you actually react in that manner. And it's very hypocritical. Um, but he in that kind of scenario, it's like, and I was actually having this conversation with a friend. I was on a, I guess I could tell you, I was on a date um, last week, and we were talking a little bit about this and how there's nothing when girls who partake in OnlyFans, and there's nothing wrong with it, but you end up nothing's necessarily sacred, as she put it. And I don't know I can't think of the best word, but I think for now we'll just kind of use that word. And it's like you, and even in that situation for that guy, like how do you think he found out about her OnlyFans? All right, it wasn't by him. Someone told him, and I guarantee you it was probably one of his guy friends. And that's just me speculating, but just some, I'm being, just take a second and be in his shoes. All right, you're in a relationship with a woman. All right, you're in an exclusive relationship, and she tells you she's thinking of doing OnlyFans, and you're like, listen, I really want to be with you, but if that's something that you do, we can't be together. Um, and then she does it anyways, and then you find out, whether it's by a friend or a social media post of hers, or something like that. You don't find out directly. It's always inadvertently in a scenario like that, most often. So think about that. Think about what that does to the trust in the relationship. So he can't trust her because, well, not even trust. She doesn't even respect him. So let's start with lack of respect. Lack of respect for the relationship, lack of respect for herself, and lack of respect for him. And why do I say lack of respect for herself? Because, and I'm going to start there because let's start with her first. Lack of respect for herself and the fact that she's in a committed relationship with someone who she knows has particular standards and expectations and beliefs that he will not compromise on because they're important to what he's looking for in a relationship. And she can't even respect herself enough to appreciate and be mindful of that and make the necessary compromise to be with someone like that. Because I'm sure she had things that were, if you don't do these things, it's over. Right? And think about it for her, okay? How many times had she ended things in the situation, or initiated conflict due to the guy not holding up exactly what she wanted, or trying to force him to be exactly what she wanted? Because we have to keep in mind that sometimes women will put unrealistic expectations on a man. And you might not like what I'm saying, but it's part of my own experience. I'm a guy, so I feel like I have some right to talk about this. But she'll put those expectations that are uncompromising, that if the guy doesn't have this or do that, she's not going to be with him. And think about how the fact that she has those expectations, but doesn't even respect herself enough to follow through on her own expectations and on his expectations. And she goes and she does OnlyFans. And not only that, she lies and goes behind his back and does it. So she has no respect for herself in the fact that she's willing to do something knowing full well that it could cost her her relationship. But her validation and her finances come first before having a possibly long-lasting, healthy relationship. And so that's what I mean when she has no self-respect for herself, is like, look how much she's willing to self-sabotage herself for quick cash and validation. And that's what I'm trying to get at. With no respect for herself. And, you know, what about the respect for him? She doesn't even respect him enough to trust in the relationship, to uphold some level of respect and accountability in a relationship. I mean, what he was asking for wasn't anything crazy. Let's be honest. He wasn't asking for something that was unrealistic in expectations. He wasn't asking for her, to have, triple D's and, have no gag reflex and, I don't know, has, an inheritance, something like that, some kind of nonsense like that. He's not asking that of her. Unlike, a girl who'll have, he needs to be over 6 feet, needs to have a 10-inch dick, needs to make 100K, and she's a teacher's assistant at a public school, or, she works at Dunkin' Donuts, but she has those kind of crazy expectations, or she's a nurse. But then, the lack of respect for him in the sense that she can't even respect his requirements and his desires of what he's looking for in a relationship with a woman. And one thing that he's looking for is, I don't want you posting nudes and stuff like that if we're dating. I mean, that's a simple request. And she threw that all out of the way for quick cash and then ridicules him by saying, well, you're not going to pay my bills. And I mean, is that really the only way to pay your bills? Is especially when, you are in a relationship with someone and they're asking you, please, I want to be with you, but I can't be with you if you're going to, partake in sex work. And is that unreasonable to ask? And, I get it. We all have bills to pay. We all have, some of us have credit card debt. Some of us have school debt, what have you. But, I mean, and you have every right to, get into sex work, do OnlyFans, but you also have to think about the consequences that come with that. And not the short term, the long term consequences. Because as we all know, anything on the internet is permanent. It's there forever. And you think about it for this man, like, for why would he want to be in a relationship with a woman where any guy can pay to see her do whatever she wants and get money from it? And then he has to, pretend like that's okay. And then what if, what if Then the thing about his, what if his friends are subscribing to her OnlyFans? What if family are? What if his family finds out about it and they start ridiculing him and they start, getting on his case about it and they start making fun of him? What if that happens? What if he's out with you and then some dude recognizes you and he's like, oh my God, I love your OnlyFans. I love your content. It's so great. Dude, is that your girl? Man, you're so lucky to have a girl who does things, and I can't believe you allow her to do all those kind of things. That's crazy, man. I wouldn't let my girl do that, but bro, that's awesome. We can all imagine that kind of conversation happening. Um, think about what that does for his confidence in himself, for him as a man. Like, that is to have someone, to have a situation like that, or even to be in a relationship with someone like that, that really can hurt your security and confidence within yourself as a man, as an individual. Because if she's so willing to do that, and to do that even after you tell her, she doesn't respect you, she doesn't really care for you, she doesn't really want to be with you. Even if she says that she does, if she really did, she would have respected your decision on not wanting her to do that. I mean, she already asked. So I mean, if you asked, then there was some level, you had some level of respect for him, but then you completely eradicate that by then going behind his back and doing it. And then him finding out through a third party. I mean, and this circles back to average girls, and I'm only saying average because let's be real. All right, the 1% girls, and even they're struggling, but we'll get to that later. But average girls who are willingly, subject themselves to OnlyFans, who are making, whether it's $190 a month to maybe $1,600 a month, maybe even more. But let's be real. You're then at the exact same time, most often than not, those girls also want to have relationships. They want to go out dating. They want guys to treat them and spoil them. And I've seen a couple girls on on Twitter, because I even talked about it, how like I am fascinated by the world of OnlyFans. I think it is a very weird, fascinating world, and there are girls that I follow that I'm just like, why? What are you doing this? What's interesting about it? And then I even follow guys who follow them, and I'm just because right now it's just been a perplexing to me, and it's been a little side project of mine. Is just kind of investigating this world a little bit and what's so interesting about it. Why are men captivated by it? Why are girls, captivated by it? And what I'm trying to say is, like, I've seen these girls who, are average looking girls. They're cute. They're cute. Some of the outfits they're wearing, I'm like, you really shouldn't be wearing that, but they're cute girls nonetheless. And plus I like thicker girls, so that's me personally. I have dated athletic girls. I have dated chunky monkeys. It's, for me, it's all about the personality in the end, really. But even I have my limits. um, so what I'm trying to go is, like, you know, she had posted, conversations with like men trying to date, and like them pretty much kind of like being completely standoffish when they kind of realize, oh, she does OnlyFans. And it's like, but at the same time, you're wanting a relationship. And so many girls who are doing it but then want relationships, it's not going to work. Because let's be real here. The guys that you want to be in relationship with, they're not going to want to be with you because you're all out on the internet. And let me tell you, even on Twitter, some of these girls, like, they everything is on Twitter. All right. I mean, I have seen the whole bush to the coochie. I mean, everything to the back door. It's ridiculous. And then at the same time, they're like, pay for my OnlyFans to get exclusive content and to see my news. And I'm like, but you already posted yourself doing the flying V. What are you talking about? But then at the same time, you're also going to school, and this is one girl that I follow, and you're a nurse, but then you want a relationship. How does that work? How does that work? Think about that. And listen, more power to women for, if you feel confident in your body and you want to share it, go ahead and share it, fine. But just think about the ramifications and the long-term consequences. Because some of these girls, they don't think about that. And listen, you're an average girl, okay? Maybe you're a 5, but when you doll yourself up, you look like a 6.5. All right, and you're 25 right now, and you're doing OnlyFans. Do you think any guys are gonna keep wanting to see you when you're 35 and you're still doing it? No. And I'm not trying to be mean, but like, let's keep in mind that's not gonna happen, because there's always going to be a younger, cuter, thicker girl. There's always going to be a new thing. And how long can you maintain? You're going to have to keep, you know, one upping yourself. And what about the depression? And what about the anxiety? What about all those other things that are played within these the OnlyFans girls? Like, what about all that stuff? Is it worth, making 1,600 a month? But let's be real, in this economy with inflation, and you live by yourself, and you have rent, and you have to, and utilities is not included, and you have internet to pay, and you have to buy your toys and batteries, all that. You're not making any money. What do you have left over for yourself? Maybe $100, maybe 200 if you're good, if you're really tight. I don't know. But like, that's what I'm trying to say. Where is the long-term financial benefit if you're not one of the one percenters? And even those girls, I've seen, conversations and articles where they're even struggling meeting guys. Because let's be honest, in the end, the guys that these girls want, they're not gonna date you. They're not gonna be in a committed relationship with you. The simps and the cuckolds, yeah, and probably those insoles, yeah, they'll hop on into a relationship with you. Yeah. They'll do that. But the average guy who's working towards succeeding, and wants to have maybe a stable household and a family and all that, he is not going to want to have a relationship with you, because he's not going to take you home, especially if his cousins can see you for free. No. His friends? No. Yeah, these girls think that they can eat their cake, sell it, and then have it at the same time. You can't eat your cake and have it at the same time. You can't share it. That was a worse way of using that analogy. But I think you get what I'm saying. It's like, how long can you maintain doing OnlyFans, especially if you're an average looking girl and you're 23? What are you gonna do? You're 23 years old. You're an average looking girl. You're doing OnlyFans. You're not really making much money, but you're like trying to like make money off of it. But it's not working. What are you gonna do? I mean, it's getting to the point where I see these girls like, oh, sign up for my Snapchat Premium, sign up for my Telegram Premium, sign up for you get $5 and you can talk dirty to me for 5 minutes. All this craziness. It's like these weird ass sales and things, and I'm like, I just see it. I'm like, wow, you're trying so hard to like make this thing work. You're trying so hard to like blow up, but it ain't happening. It's not happening. Men aren't that interested. Okay? And let's be honest, they'll probably pay for one subscription for a month. Screenshot your photos, screenshot your videos, and then that's it. Or go on Reddit and look for someone else who's taken the time to do that. Because that's another issue that they're dealing with. You're hoping that you're gonna make money off of yourself, but guys out there are just easily stealing your photos and then just putting it out on Reddit or Twitter for anyone to look at, or your content. And how are you going to get it back? They're not going to give it back to you. I mean, think about it. The irony of revenge porn gave way for OnlyFans. It's wild, right? It's absolutely wild. Um, and then this, how do men expect to date? You're an average bloke, and you're paying for OnlyFans, and you think you're having great engaging conversation with this girl, but she doesn't want anything to do with you. And then you're doing that, but then you're also like on Tinder and like on Hinge or OK Cupid or Facebook dating, and you're trying to like get girls, but like you're conflating the world of OnlyFans with the dating world, and it doesn't work like that. And how often is that becoming an issue? How bad is it now that men don't know how to talk to girls in public, or how to flirt with them and things like that, because they've been consumed with OnlyFans and think that the average girl behaves like that? And no, the average girl doesn't behave like that in casual conversation. They don't interact like that. I remember this. I saw this girl on her story. She's like, if you want to have conversations with me, you have to pay first. It's like, pay first to have a conversation with you? Just to talk to you, I gotta pay first. And I'm like, you're not Beyonce. I mean, what are we doing here? It's like you are not that level of tier of woman, but what are we doing? And I see so much of these girls are just trying so desperately hard to like promote their content, but it's like no one wants it. And I don't understand. And then the guys who want it, it's like you are becoming disillusioned. And then the guys who don't want anything to do with that stuff are already struggling to find girls who aren't doing that stuff, who aren't or who have done it in the past. Because I'm sure there are girls who did it for a little bit and then stopped, but it's like it's a little too late, because if you casually bring up to the guy that you're seeing that, yeah, I used to do OnlyFans, he may stop talking to you, or he may see you completely different. And after a while, it may teeter off. It may not bloom into anything. And these are things that I don't think people are realizing, or these women are realizing, even for men too. Like, if you're like seeing someone, then she finds out you're still using OnlyFans. Like, I mean, isn't that almost like a form of cheating? Especially if you're like engaging with conversation and giving her money. Yeah, I mean that is a form of cheating. That's like cheating with cheating without the physical touch, but you're paying the cheat. Is that what we're doing now? Like, think about how many dudes who are probably in relationships but are paying for OnlyFans to girls as well. Like, what's going on here? So you're paying to like cheat? That's what we're doing? Or girls who are in relationships who then start OnlyFans and then don't tell their boyfriends, and then maybe a month later, 6 months later, maybe somehow a year later, he then finds out about it, and it's like, wait a minute, she's been paying men to cheat with her on me? Does that make sense? Like, think about how crazy this all is. If you really think about it, it is so crazy and asinine, and is ruining men and women's ability to date, feel confident in themselves, and be able to trust one another in some regard. Because one dude might be wondering, well, this girl's pretty cute. I wonder, let me look her up to see if she does OnlyFans. And then you find out, shit, she does OnlyFans. It's like, well, I'm not doing that one, or I'm gonna do that one, but that's as far as we're gonna go. And then think about how many girls who have done OnlyFans or do OnlyFans trying to date, but the guys only see them as objects, or they see them as a thrill. And that's it. And maybe it's casual for a little bit, but it doesn't turn into anything because he's like, I'm not gonna be in a relationship with you. People know what you look like. You're pumping yourself with a dildo for everyone to see, and all I have to do is pay $10 a month to see that. And then you're a dude who's like dating a girl, but then you're paying $10 a month to see that. And then the girl you're trying to see, it doesn't work, and you're like wondering what the fuck, what is she doing? I don't get it. Well, your brain is split between two worlds, and you don't even know which one to conflate with, and you're spending more money on the OnlyFans girl than taking this girl out, and I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how many. I can't imagine how many men are in that weird conundrum. I can't imagine. It must be. It must suck. And this is part of the issue that's so sad about this OnlyFans and dating, and especially being a man, because it's like you average man wants a girl to be, be his, and that, those are special things that they do together that they don't show the entire world. I mean, if you're a couple that's into that, that's a completely different story and a different thing. But most men and women aren't really into that. And unfortunately, the some of the feminine ideology has made it okay to do these things, but they don't remind them about the consequences that come with that amount of freedom. Because let's be honest, there's consequences that come with anything in life, positive and negative, and no one's telling them about the consequences that come with this, especially if you're an average girl doing OnlyFans. If you're not one of these one percenters that are able to, buy a Lamborghini and do expensive trips and charge, 150 a month or all sorts of crazy things, whatever, or charge 10K for a meet and greet. I mean, that's completely different. I mean, yeah, I saw an OnlyFans girl. She did an auction to go on a date with her. I mean, how fucking ridiculous is that? Just to go on a date with her to find a man. And she thought that would be the best way to find the right type of guy for me. Lo and behold, it didn't work. But and I think this kind of comes into circle with the next thing I kind of want to talk about is like, how do people who don't partake in that, how do you date mindfully, I guess I should say, in this new world of dating? And I feel like that is something that is increasingly becoming impossible to navigate and to figure out. Um, and for me personally, like, as I've gotten older and the more experiences I've had um, dating, and especially the more experiences I've had dating women around my age, because I'm 30, and and I used to date a lot of girls who were when I was like yeah, even when I was before I turned 30, I dated, I was talking to a lot of younger girls who were like 24, 23, 25. And you may, that, 4 years apart, that, 3 years apart, that's a lot of difference between two people. Not often the case, but most often it is. And, uh, and I think for me, as I've gotten older and trying to date more, women around my age or even women older, to be frank, um, I'm very mindful about how I approach the woman depending on who I'm talking to, and how my approach, and being mindful of how I'm going to date this person, because everyone's different. When no matter who you're gonna see, you can't date everyone the same. Leave that to the players and to the 304s. But for the average person, it's like you're gonna have to readjust yourself constantly depending on who you're talking to when you start dating someone and start talking. Um, and I think when, especially during now, it's hard because when you're trying to be mindful and confident and respectful and humble, it can be, seen as off-putting or seen as an open invitation for manipulation or leading on. And it makes it hard, because if you're a very mindful person, you trust your gut. You listen to your instincts. You don't deny them. That's something I've gotten a lot better at doing, is trusting my instincts and not denying them. So you're able to pick up when things are becoming rocky, or you have that sense like, oh, this is probably not going to work out, or it's going to end soon. And it makes it even harder when you're trying to navigate a world where the expectations make it hard to be mindful in regards to who these people are, because sometimes they don't deserve the humility and the patience and the respect, because they haven't even given you that to begin with. um and I think that's what makes it hard dating nowadays for people who are mindful and self-aware, that you end up sometimes meeting someone who you think is right up your alley, but then you realize it was a persona, and they were just they really wanted to get with you or be with you, and then they show you their true colors, and it's like they're not humble, they're not mindful of growth and love and in relationships, and it makes it hard. And you bring up, then add on, the way the dating world is, whether it's online dating through the dating apps or through Instagram or Twitter, and then you add on these you know crazy ultra feminist dating coaches and these manosphere dating coaches, and they're just these two far spectrums, both of self-sabotage and egotistical thought process and behavior, that it ends up destroying people's ability to be mindful in dating, to be self-aware that there it's going to take time to grow in love with someone, and for your gardens to grow together, and to really to really have good chemistry. And that is destroyed when you have these atmospheres of just kind of mean dating spirits. And I don't know how to put, like, aggressive dating, and it's like it's mean, and it's like, you know I don't know, it's just weird. And you couple that in with the OnlyFans stuff, and it just makes it so hard for people who are very mindful and self-aware how to navigate this world, how to trust in trying to have a relationship, and how often it ends up just being a passing fling rather than a lifetime. And most often now we are looking for a lifetime, but they're in the guise of a passing moment, they're in the guise of a fling. And when you then take with it, and I bring up, the manosphere, that kind of dating mindset, you take that in, and it warps how men should interact and date women, because they view every woman as a threat, that every woman is untrustworthy, that every woman is gonna screw you over. And I feel that there is a level of, unfortunately, a level of truth to that. And you may hate me for saying that, and you may get mad at me, but I feel like there is a level of truth to that, in the sense that women are being, a lot of these, a lot of the feminist ideology, or a lot of these women who are promoting these toxic dating habits, are do whatever you want, get what you want, have your way with the man, and all men are shit, all men are crap. And it's like, okay, how do we Like, what does that mean? And then, you have women who are actively, you know, promoting that behavior and condoning it and normalizing it. And then, and then you have countless videos of women, behaving in ways and doing things while they're in relationships, and it's being celebrated and being, oh, it's okay, she's living her life, it's hot girl summer, or whatever you whatever you want. And then you have on the same guy, then you have on the same other side, you have the manosphere, where it's like, you gotta, you can't settle down, don't date single parent women. They're the worst to date, always have a backup plan. um don't talk to girls who do OnlyFans, and if you do, just screw them and keep on moving. But then these very same guys are dating OnlyFans girls or on sugar daddy websites, and vice versa with the women. They're married or they're in committed relationships, and they have kids and whatnot, but they're telling single women to go out and do all this nonsense. And then you have on the other side with guys, don't trust women, they're all whores, they're all evil. Be mean to them, be tough, don't show your emotions, don't be vulnerable. It's so crazy. It's all crazy. And how are mindful, self-aware people who just want to settle down, who just want to grow in love with someone, how are they supposed to find happiness? How are they supposed to find balance? How are they supposed to find trust when you have all this toxic dating advice and gurus and what have you out there, just perpetuating this cycle of self-sabotage, of denying growth, of denying individuality? How are mindful, self-aware people supposed to date? How are they supposed to find love? Some are able to, some are still struggling. And that's kind of what's so upsetting. I shouldn't say upsetting, but just so disappointing about the dating world right now, is that it's so toxic and so driven with manipulation and expectations and just aggressive behavior, and it's just sad. It's just sad to see where it's going. And for how people who are mindful are, how are they supposed to navigate it and work through it? And I'll tell you, for me personally, like, you know I have, I'm in, I'm going to school, I got, running art and music, entrepreneurial business I'm working on. Like, I have things that I'm working on, that for me are crucial in my ability to move forward as an individual, and also feel more confident in wanting to have a relationship, because everything that I'm doing is so important to who I am as a person, that if someone can't respect that and appreciate it and be willing to support it and grow with it, I'm not going to be in a relationship with them. And thus far, there have been moments where I thought I really met someone that I really wanted to be with, and I was like, this is it. But they didn't want to respect the trust that I needed in terms of being vulnerable and opening it up about things that I'm going through, and respecting that, it takes a little bit more time for me because of who I am and what I've gone through. Um, and I can be vulnerable, but for me, it takes time, and I really have to know you and feel comfortable, especially when it comes to certain things. Other things I'll be completely vulnerable. Other things, it takes time, and I need to really feel comfortable. But they didn't want to respect that time, and they ended it in a very, you know, mean and cowardly manner. Um, they couldn't even face me. They were on the other side of the country, and to me, that's, after the amount of time that we were spending together and everything that we talked about, that was really, disingenuous and disrespectful and cowardly, in my opinion. Um, and to say that, I wasn't telling them everything about my life. Well, I don't have to tell you everything. We've only known each other for a couple months, and I have been vulnerable enough. And prior to the abrupt ending, I opened up a lot to you, and it took strength and courage, and I acknowledge that to you. Um, and it's just unfortunate when then someone who's very mindful and self-aware, they do that and they don't get that same reciprocation, and you know, it's disregarded, and it's unfortunate. And I don't take it personally. I've learned to not take things personally. And it was really more of a reflection of them and what they were going through. Um, and to be honest, it's probably a good thing it didn't work out, considering what they were going through. But at the same time, you know, we're all human, and we all want it to work out, even when it's with someone that it's as much as you guys have great chemistry and you guys really bond well. Obviously, it's not meant to be right now. Maybe someday in the future, or in another lifetime, or in another reality. you know, we have to think about those kind of things. That we just have to be mindful of how human we are, and especially when it comes to dating and being mindful and loving and responsibility. It takes a lot of discipline and emotional growth to you know love responsible to love responsibly, I should say. And I feel that that is something that is lacking right now in the world. Um, is is loving responsibly, especially in the dating world. um, we have a lot of people promoting and dating irresponsibly, and it's causing a lot of heartbreak. It's causing heartache. It's causing passive aggressive behavior. It's causing self sabotage. It's you name it. The amount of irresponsible love that is perpetuated and promoted and condoned. It's sad, and it's unfortunate. And I'm hoping that there are voices out there like mine who are louder, have more of a influence, who can speak up on these things. I'm sure they're out there. We just have to give them, more space to speak and amplify them and support them. But we most importantly, we have to support ourselves. The art of living is learning and growing in love within yourself so you can with another. And that is crucial. As being the gardener and tending as the garden, you have to understand and appreciate the love of your garden and the variety that it holds, and that the cross pollination between your garden and someone else's is crucial to a healthy and long lasting relationship. And I just hope that we as humans can begin to see the value in ourselves first before committing the value to another. Because let's be honest, not everyone deserves that value. Sometimes you deserve it more than they do. And I just want us as human beings to take that initiative in seeing the value in ourselves and applying it to our garden of life, to our being. But the art of living is a continuous education unit, and you never stop learning, And you never stop learning how to love. As long as you're willing to embrace such a philosophy, such an education. For the art of living is as eternal as the sky and as deep as the breath we breathe, everlasting, ever evolving, eternally true. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Monday Mindset. To learn more about myself and how you can support the Monday Mindset, head over to my Patreon page at Ronin Art and Music. That's Ronin Art and Music. If you're interested in reaching out, follow me on social media. On Twitter, Ronin Art and Music, or at me at Kios Ronin, KioosRonin. On Instagram, follow me at RoninArt_music. And if you prefer to email, hit me up at the Monday Mindset 009 at gmail.com. That's the Monday Mindset 009 at gmail.com. And that is all lowercase. If you're listening to this on your preferred streaming service, please make sure to subscribe. If you're listening on YouTube, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment and a review, and slap that notification bell. On Apple Podcasts, please make sure to subscribe, rate the podcast, and leave a review, as this will help me and the podcast grow. Stay positive, stay focused, stay true, and much love. Welcome to Ronin Art and Music. I wish to introduce everyone to my new Teespring page, where you can purchase designs featuring Ronin Art and Music, the Monday Mindset, or Ronin Thoughts. Head over to Teespring and search Ronin Art and Music, or head over to my Etsy page at Ronin Art and Music, where you can purchase photography postcards, motivational postcards, and hard copies of my debut album, True Colors. If you enjoy the merchandise, products, or content created by Ronin Art and Music, please take time to subscribe to my Patreon page at Ronin Art and Music. This is the best way to show continued support and join Clan Ronin, where you will have a hands-on impact on all things Ronin Art and Music. Stay positive, stay focused, stay true, and much love.